Alright, y'all, welcome to the first episode of Studying Cinema with Cozy. You feel me? Today, I'm here with my little brother Marcus. You feel me? We're gonna be talking about Euphoria, both season 1 and season 2. You feel me? So, just to start it off, you feel me? You could give your initial thoughts on the second season since that's the most recent one that just came out. You feel me? Fresh off our minds and all that.
Overall, I feel like the season was good. It had ups and downs. There was a lot of loopholes in the script itself, but as in terms of like the story it was trying to portray, I mean it was off track at times, but overall it was a good season. It was a good storyline, different types of storylines. I feel like overall the well that's another topic. But it was a good season. It was a good season.
Yeah, I felt like it was straight. I feel like compared to season 1, it was a little bit more. I want to say the pacing of it was a lot more different than the first season, because a lot of questions that people wanted answered from season 1 weren't answered in season 2, and a lot of questions that were brought up in season 2 didn't get resolved by the end of it. So it was just a pacing of the season that was kind of off for me, and some of the elements with the writing was kind of off, and the characters and stuff. But the season was entertaining. You know, it's gonna stay entertaining. I feel like, you know, the main character storyline, Rue, she has the most probably, you know, even though she's the main character, sometimes, you know, she kind of gets pushed back to the side, you know, for characters like Jules and Cassie and, you know, people like that. But that's not to say that it's a disservice. I just think that, you know, there's certain relationship in Rue's life that could be, you know, emphasized a little bit more, like the one that she has with Ali. You know, just diving into her sister's life a little bit more, or her mom's life a little bit more, even though they showed it in different realms, you know. I also think that they kind of, well, yeah, we're gonna get to that later with the whole Lori situation. But yeah, I feel like overall season 2 was an entertaining season. I wouldn't just flat out say it's better than season 1, but yeah, I feel like it was a good overall season. Where do you feel like they're gonna go with it in the next season, based off of where they ended it?
Honestly, that's probably one of the biggest
Because honestly,
loopholes I feel like is in the script. Because the way they ended the season, it was with Rue talking about how she stayed clean for the rest of the year. So you already know she was clean for the rest of the year, but there's a whole bunch of stuff that's gonna happen in that time period, like when Nate's dad went to jail. So it's like if they were when they do make that third season, are they gonna pick up where they left off after the play? Or are they gonna pick up at the end of the school year?
yeah,
And just
that's
neglect all the stuff that really happened in
That's-
between that time.
that's what I was thinking too. Because at the end of season 1 and at the beginning of season 2, they right back to back. So I personally think they're gonna do a time jump, and I don't know how it's gonna play out though.
I feel like season 3. I feel like the reason why, like you was talking about, how they needed more scenes with like Rue's sister and like her family and all that. I feel like they didn't have that. It could be a stretch, but I feel like they didn't have that to show, like, to really put you in the perspective of a drug addict and like how selfish and like the way their thought process is and their actions are without them even noticing it. So I feel like the best thing they could do with that third season, if she stays clean, obviously the way she gonna act is gonna change, so she's not gonna be as selfish. So that's when you can implement more different storylines with their, like how I forgot Gia, how like she feels about the entire situation. Like they could shed more light on her sister, her mother, and how they actually dealt with everything.
Yeah, I feel you. I feel you. The third season, I feel like honestly, I feel like the way they set the end of the second season up, they really don't even have to do a third season if they don't want to, because there's not really much to, unless we see them go to college and explore other parts of life. There really isn't much more to really go back to.
I feel like it's gonna be a drag because the show itself is about Rue.
Yeah,
Like,
and then it
being
turns
on
into
drugs.
everything else
Yeah,
being the
but
forefront.
if the main focus was about her getting clean, then the show would be over, because she said she stayed clean.
But if
Now
the
if they
show,
about to have her do drugs again, then
yeah, I feel like if the show was, if that was the main focus of the show, then they messed up the season 2 by making Cassie and Nate more of main characters than Rue was in a couple of them episodes, because they showed it, like that one episode where Rue was running around the city. They showed her throughout that whole episode living that drug life, but at the same time they didn't answer a lot of questions that people had about her character and everything that was going on around her. And then for them to just be like, boom, she's clean. I mean, I get it, but I feel like they needed to explain a little bit more so everybody in the general audience could understand. Because, I mean, for me and you, we could put the pieces together, but then, like, for everybody else, general audience, it might just be confusing. Especially that one scene when Rue went to Lori, and then Lori gave her that morphine. A lot of people said that you feel me, that she woke up the next day and broke out the house the next day, like the next morning. But
that makes sense.
I don't think so, because when she was in the tub, it looked like she was shooting her in her left arm, right? And then when she woke up, she looked at her right arm, and then she had 3 more holes in it. So I'm just thinking, like, she had to keep getting shot up.
She kept missing the vein.
Yeah, but she kept missing the vein in the same arm too. And then she went over, and then when Rue woke up, she had holes in another arm. So it's just like she could have kept getting shot up just so she could lay dead there. And Lori said that she would basically use her for sex trafficking if she didn't come up with that money. So I think that's probably what happened. But yeah, like I was saying about Lori, I feel like she trafficked her for a couple days and had Rue lay there, and then Rue woke up and then left the house. Because when she was leaving the house, I mean, that whole episode, she was hurting and shit. But like when she was running and leaving the house, she was moving different. And then the very next episode, when she was at the table with the Jolly Ranchers, she couldn't move right, you feel me? And I feel like that was more than just her trying to get clean off of drugs, you feel me? I feel like her body was adjusting to the trauma that she had went through while she was at Lori's crib. So, and I just feel like for the sake of the show, they probably didn't show or get into it. And, you feel me, rightfully so, but, I mean, it just left it up in the air for the viewers to figure out, you know. But, you know, for the ones that can figure it out, you know, they know. They know. I feel like that's the main reason why that Lori didn't come back around in the rest of the season, because she already got the money that she needed out of Rue by, you know, selling her body. What you think?
To be honest, I honestly feel like that's probably the best way to explain it, really, because that was the same question I was really having too. Like, at the end of the day, they threw all her drugs away, so she still owed that lady some money, and she was gonna get the money regardless of how she had to do it. She drugged her, and that's like the last part that we seen. And then she just woke up and left, really.
Exactly.
It don't really add up. That's what I'm saying. Like, there's a lot of loopholes in the script. There's a lot of places where the audience is left to think about certain things, but maybe it was done on purpose. So
I feel like, yeah, I feel like a lot of things in the show didn't even have to be done. You know, I'm talking about both season 1 and season 2. Being that they're in high school, I don't feel like they need to OD show a lot of sex scenes, because that's just like they in high school. You feel me? And then like the cat storyline, with the way that it went in season 2, they kind of didn't even need to have her as a main character at all in the show. She should have just been like a side character, like a real side character, instead of a side character that got her own story in season 1 just to be pushed to the side in season 2. I mean, I get the behind the scenes drama that be going on, but you feel me? I don't know. I feel like a lot of the stuff that happened behind the scenes is why the show got played out the way it did, but at that point, it's just like unprofessionalism. You feel me? But I feel like Nate and Cassie's storyline, for the most part, it was entertaining. Cassie just crazy, so it's just like a crazy girl in love. You feel me? Playing that storyline out. Lexi's play, that element was a cool little part because it really showed all the characters what their issues were. You feel me? And what they needed to work on. And Lexi being the observer, it would make sense for her to be the one to make that come to life. You feel me? I think there's a lot of symbolism in the show for certain, especially with the colors and stuff that they use. You feel me? Like the color purple being one of the primary colors in the show already lets you know that it's gonna deal with a lot of emotional stuff, wisdom, knowledge, compassion, creativity, things of that nature. So yeah,
I feel like the photography, the cinematography
was top notch.
Is probably what
makes the show.
Because without the cinematography, and you just take the show for what it is, and no one gonna really like it.
But that's the thing though, with season 2, I feel like season 1 was the perfect balance between the story and the cinematography, getting the right shots and then making the story make sense along the way. But yeah, like I was saying, I feel like season 1 had the perfect balance of cinematography and story. Season 2 focused a little bit too much on trying to get a right shot or a perfect shot that looks good, rather than flourishing or letting the story unfold. You feel me?
Yeah, I know what you mean, because there was certain camera shots. Well, basically, I forgot what episode it was.
The one with Jules and Rue,
yeah,
and they was just
showing different shots.
Yeah.
Like, that's the type of stuff that, it has no value to the actual storyline plot. But people like seeing that type of stuff. But in season 1, it had more to do with the storyline, because the visuals would come with the drugs that she was doing.
Yeah, and it would just come naturally, like when they was at the carnival, like the whole carnival scene in general, like they just played around with the lighting of the different stuff that was going on, and it worked out as far as them like telling every character story that was at the carnival, and them just making it look good at the same time. Season 2, it was some scenes or some moments in the season where they found that balance, but it was other times where they was just doing it for show. You feel me? And it was all for show. And it's cool to add that artistic element to it, but when you're taking up time that needs to be focused on character development, it kind of takes away. Especially in the last episode, a lot of people had issues with that scene where Elliot was singing for 5 minutes straight. And I feel him, because like at the end of the day, people are trying to see certain characters get developed and their stories get finished. So it's like we're servicing the wrong artistic need right there when it comes to trying to make the show look good rather than having it make sense and look good at the same time. You feel me? If they do a season 3, well, they are doing a season 3. I feel like they need to just go back to how they found that balance in season 1. I feel like overall, the show is a okay show to watch. It's just that I feel like it exploits the stuff that it's trying to shed light on at the same time, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it definitely does, because it makes no sense how you're gonna have a whole section about the way women feel about their bodies and the means of like the way it's portrayed on social media. Yet you got grown men playing high schoolers.
Yeah.
And it's just like
grown men and grown women.
Yeah. And you could say that the audience is for mature people, but like maturity don't really got an age on it. So
exactly.
when you got a group of high schoolers seeing a show that's taking place in high school, your main audience is going to be high schoolers. So now you're showing high schoolers a whole bunch of drugs that they got no idea about and the effects about it, and now you're throwing this aesthetically pleasing like all this different stuff.
Yeah, it's
and
real.
Just like,
It's that show is a definition of what the new age era is. You
yeah.
feel me?
And especially because of the characters that they have in the show, like they know what they're doing. Really,
Exactly.
they know exactly what they're doing. Because if the characters wasn't the characters they were, and it was just a regular show with a regular drug addict without
Mhm.
all that extra, it wouldn't be as highly acclaimed as it is.
Exactly. It's a movie out there that I've seen that's kind of similar to Euphoria as far as Zendaya's storyline. As far
It's
as
a TV show too that took place in the UK.
you talking about the show, well, Euphoria overall is not even original. It's based off an Israeli show. So it's like I need to go look at what that Israeli show talking about to see if they really even, you feel me, doing it justice for real. But Euphoria overall, like I said, it's just it's an exploitation kind of, and they do know what they're doing with as far as the characters and everything. Like casting certain people to play certain roles and like the whole vibe behind it. You feel me? They know exactly what they're doing. Cause nobody was dressing like that in high school.
Nobody is dressing like that.
It's like we went to high school at 2 different times. No one was dressing like that when I was in high school. No one was dressing like that when he was in high school. So it's just like, and no one was moving like that either. I don't care like what area.
That's what I'm
I don't
saying.
know nobody that was moving like that in high school for real. Like, I mean, behind closed doors, you never know what's going on in people's lives. But the way that they have some of these characters moving is very crazy. Like,
the way that they had the ability it is, like how easy it is to obtain these drugs seems kind of unrealistic too.
mm-hmm.
Like the whole idea with Rue trying to sell drugs in that one little scene, that made no sense to me.
Because
Like,
no
they
real
can-
drug dealer is gonna go for
Yeah,
that.
that's why I was thinking like Lori wanted to sell her body because
She already knew.
Yeah, she knew she was a drug addict and she knew she was gonna take those drugs. You can make more money off of someone's body than you can off of them selling drugs. So I feel like she knew what she was doing,
Mhm.
but a lot of people are not gonna look at it that way because, like I said, that main audience is high schoolers. So
Mhm. And you could tell because when you go on the social medias and see what people saying, it do look like there's a lot of young-minded people talking about the show, and it's just misguidance at the end of the day. I feel like the writers and directors need to take heed to that. They should have overall from the get-go made
Yeah,
the
in
show
college.
take place in college, and it would have made it a lot more comfortable to watch and a lot more understanding too.
because the excuse everyone trying to use is that it's real life. I mean, obviously it's real life. Everyone go through their different things, but just because it happened in real life don't mean it's okay for you to put that on TV.
Exactly.
Like, there's a difference between trying to bring up a topic that's not really addressed and trying to actually have a movement behind it and stop it, but they not trying to stop younger kids from taking drugs in that show.
Exactly.
Like that's not the point of the show. If anything, that show is really trying to talk
Influence.
about it's influencing drugs and it's really trying to talk about mental health more than anything
Mhm.
because
And it talks about sexual liberation, being comfortable with your own sexual orientation and shit like
Yeah.
that.
that's what it's really about. It's just like the drugs is that mean.
That's why I'm saying like they focused on it in season 1. Like they made Rue the main character in season 1, with everything else going on around her type shit. But season 2 was like Nate, Cassie, those are the 2 main characters, and Rue is like a main character, but she not really like, I don't know. And then they under delivered on everything too. Like they under delivered on everything. So it just made it, you know, I don't know. Because Cassie's storyline, like what else could you really show with Cassie's storyline? Her going back and forth with Nate.
That's what I'm saying. What else could you show with Rue? Like at this point, the only thing she can do
And
now is
Maddie's
do drugs
storyline
again.
done too, because Maddie already, everybody saw what they wanted to see Maddie and Cassie fight at the end of the season. So what's your final remarks on the show overall? What you feel like they need to do and what they could improve on?
Overall, I feel like the show is entertaining. It's a good show, but I wouldn't recommend someone to watch that show and compare it to real life because that's not how it is in real life at all. I mean, you could sit here and say like, yeah, you know someone in high school that was doing drugs and all this extra stuff, but at the end of the day, they wasn't moving the way she was moving. Like there's a lot of things that happened in that show that you just brushed past.
The fact that Lexi was able to have the play in general
It made no sense with
like
all that whole gym scene
yeah,
going
like
on in public.
and then no staff was there to stop the whole fight between cat. It's like throughout the whole show, you don't see no teachers, no staff, no nothing. You just see students walking in the hallway. You don't see them in class. You don't see them like sitting down in the classroom. Nothing. You don't see none of that. You just see them roaming the halls when they're in high school, and that's it.
And the show really is a real big contradictory. I feel like it's not contradictory, but it's real gender based, really, because the gay everyone that is perceived to be gay in that show is really looked at in a negative light, and everyone that's not, because there's no really gay female in the show, but like
They got Jules.
yeah, they got Jules and
They got Rue.
whatever.
But I don't
that
even know
dude's
if Rue
name.
would be gay.
I forgot the dudes that dude name that was with Jules when they was dating Rue.
Elliot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they got that side, and then that's looked at as positive. Like, even though that she cheated on Rue.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
They Jules did a lot of
Negative
shit
things.
and they try to. That's why I'm glad that they didn't have Rue go back to her at the end of season 2, because Jules was just a foul character from the get go. She went to back to her hometown, cheated on Rue in the whole threesome, came back and then got mad because Elliot liked Rue, not because Rue liked Elliot. She was trying to make it seem like Rue was liking Elliot and this and that, when deep down Jules was trying to fuck with Elliot. So Jules' character either is extremely flawed or she's just a foul character from the get go. And
None of the characters are good. I feel like
Yeah,
that's the
no
point
one-
of the show.
no one's valid in the show. I feel like the only people that were valid was Faz and Ashtray. But even up until they had Ashtray do some dumb shit at the end.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I feel like the show is really supposed to show you that no one is a good person, but it's all on what you focus on.
Mhm.
Because you can focus on Rue being a drug addict and how that makes her a bad person, or you can focus on the stuff that she does for other people. You can focus on Jules being a cheater, or you can focus on how she made the effort to help Rue get better. You can focus on Faz being a drug dealer, or you can focus on the relationship that he had with Lexi.
Yeah.
You can focus on Ashtray being a killer, or you can focus on him doing anything to protect his brother. So it's like at the end of the day,
There's a balance to it all.
everyone got their flaws, but it's up to you to decide what your values are and how those values make you look at the cast.
Mhm.
So
That makes the most sense right there. It's really like one of those shows that do give you a lot of self-reflection.
yeah, because Lexi is no better than anybody else on that show. Because who was she to go out and basically make a mockery of all the stuff that they was going through?
Exactly.
But
I
just
mean,
because her intentions were good doesn't mean that she was.
and
being a good
Lexi even
person.
knew that's what she was doing was kind of foul, because if she would have never asked Faz like about being concerned if she didn't feel like it was gonna have a effect on people, or people would look at it in the wrong way. Like you said, ain't nobody better than nobody in that show, for real. The best, like, honestly, Ali, he the only character that came in solid and kind of left out solid. Even though his whole background was being a crackhead, like, that's the only thing that they could hold over his head.
And that's the whole point of the show. That's what I'm saying, because like you could focus on him being a crackhead and
But then
him
you could-
abusing his wife, but you could also focus on what he's doing in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all about everyone's values and how
Everybody's
they-
story is different
yeah.
too, though, because I feel like I had a theory that Gia was gonna go. Like, I had a feeling that something was gonna happen to Gia just because the way Rue was moving. So I don't know if they're gonna do that in season 3, and then show like, because they kind of showed in different eras of the season, like how Gia started to not care as much, or Gia just started to let go and try to, you feel me, just because Rue was draining, you feel me, draining to her mom and her sister and all that fighting and bickering and stuff. So I don't know. I just hope they do a better overall job at character development and trying to give enough time to each character respectfully. You feel me? Without wasting too much time on the cinematography or the artistic element, even though that's what makes the show what it is. You feel me?
I feel like this third season should be the last season.
Yeah.
Because at this point, there's nothing else that they could really talk about. Cause like, I don't know
The
how.
only thing the only thing they could really showcase is them elevating their lives to be better people in college. That's the only thing that they
But
could
they're
really
not
do.
even all gonna go to college because they're not all in the same grade.
That's why I was confused at too, because in season 1 and season 2, I remember hearing different ages and different classes.
Like I think.
So I don't know. I don't even know if Rue graduated high school.
Yeah, I think they didn't graduate.
You think they all juniors, right?
Nah, Nate is a senior. Nate and Maddie are seniors. Nah, they not. I think Nate is a senior though. I don't know what grade. I think they either juniors or they either juniors or they about to graduate.
And that's Max though. They did.
But that means if they juniors now, then in the first season they were sophomores, which makes the show even more.
Nah, I think the first season they was juniors for sure though. I think they was juniors in the first season for sure. But that don't. But then why would you have McKay date Cassie if they juniors?
That's what I'm saying.
And then just for McKay to show up in one episode and then dip, like, there was so many things that weren't addressed, bro. And they just did things for shock value. That whole scene with what's the name, with the whole fraternity busting in on him. That they did nothing with that after that. It was just for shock value. And I feel like a lot of the scenes in that, especially the sexual scenes, was just for shock value.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's a mockery because like there's people that actually go through that type of stuff.
Yeah.
So it was just like for you to brush past it like it's nothing and then focus on
the bullshit that's going on in the show. All niggas focused on was Cassie being crazy most of the season, and then they focused a little bit on Rue's rehab journey. You feel me? But it was really that. It was really just everyone anticipating the moment that Cassie and Maddie was gonna fight the whole season, and us anticipating what would happen with Rue and that drug money that she owed Lori. But both of those were underwhelming and under-delivered in the end. And then Fez going to jail and Ashtray dying, it's like, damn. For one, I didn't feel like they had to kill a little boy in the show. And then, two, like...
It made no sense because either way, they was going to go to jail. And now Fez is going to probably do more time because that's two people dead. And one is a minor that he was taking care of.
But I don't know because, I don't know, bruh. And then people trying to act like Faye did something. Faye ain't do shit. Faye could have been said something days prior. And they could have been out the jam. But, I don't know, man. A lot of things in that show just kind of, like, irritated me. But it just showed, you know, I guess it showed how you need to have a good relationship with the crew and the cast behind the scenes, first and foremost, before making the show. Because a lot of things wouldn't have happened if everybody was actually in a good relationship. The relationship between Cassie and Nate was supposed to be between Jules and Nate. And then the girl, Kat, was supposed to have way more scenes than what she did. So I'm pretty sure that her and Ethan's storyline was supposed to be a lot more convoluted or detailed than what it showcased. And I think also that the girl that played Jules, like I said, that storyline was supposed to be hers with Cassie, but I don't think her and the guy that played Nate, I don't think they were cool in real life behind the scenes, you feel me? So that's why everything went the way it did. But at that point, the show is what it, like, you feel me? Like, you see what I'm trying to say? Like, it's no good. Because the influence that it's having on people on top of, like, the real life aspect of it, you feel me? It's no good. It's one of those shows that look good, but on the inside, it's no good.
Yeah, and it just, people don't really, they're not really paying attention to that. I mean, they probably are paying attention to that. It's just a different time.
Yeah, it's really a case of the devil in a blue dress, for real.
Because there's certain stuff that wasn't accepted a couple years ago that's accepted now, and they're just able to talk about it. Because, like, just the whole show taking place in high school is just the biggest red flag, to be honest, because like
They minors.
yeah, and just because it's a minor being played by an adult, it's still like you portraying a minor. So at the end of the day,
The
like,
influence is crazy.
yeah, if you portraying a minor, you gonna influence the minors.
Alright, so with everything being said, you feel me? You want to give them your Instagram and your everything so they could get at you?
I only got an Instagram. It's Marcus_Terry, but the E is a 3.
Alright. Yeah, man. So y'all can expect, you feel me, this new series on a weekly basis every Sunday. You feel me? That's the plan for right now. Next week, we're going to be talking about the Batman since that's just came out. You feel me? So if y'all ain't see it, go see that because that's a fire movie. And you can follow me on the gram at Jamal Hollywood. Feel me? Follow the brand on everything at Cozy Candidates. And you feel me? We're gonna catch you on the next one. You feel me?